Welcome to the SGS Sustainability Expertise interview series on greenhouse gas and climate-related reporting. I'm your host, Adam Hammes, VP of Sustainability Assurance for SGS North America. And our guest today is Linda Weber, Director of Global Compliance and Corporate Sustainability at Jabil. Thank you for being here, Linda.
It's my pleasure, Adam. Thank you for having me.
I am really excited. I want to ask you about Jabil's overall sustainability program before we dive in, but could you please share some quick just background on Jabil and your role for our listeners?
Yeah, so Jabil is an international manufacturing solutions company. We have locations, over 100 locations spanning at least 30 countries, and my role is the Director of Global Compliance and Corporate Sustainability, and I have responsibility for Jabil's 5-year sustainability strategy and the associated non-financial disclosures, and also our environmental due diligence and other sustainability-related initiatives.
Thank you. I'm really excited to have you here with us today. And let's just start with talking about big picture. What topics or material topics did Jabil choose to focus on within your sustainability program?
Well, we focused on material topics across the pillars of environmental, social, and governance. So these include things like climate action and resource efficiency usage, human rights, cybersecurity, and other goals, a total of 12 across those pillars.
And those are all mapped to like the SDGs, and I see a lot of work was going into that. What was your materiality assessment like to come up with those, and how did leadership decide?
So our original materiality assessment took place back in 2021, and we interviewed a variety of stakeholders, customers, suppliers, employees, academics, and we had a conversation with them, and we asked them what their top sustainability priorities were and to rate their importance as it relates to Jabil. And we took all of this data and uploaded it into our mapping technology, and we were able to come up with a priorities matrix. And we used those outcomes to inform what our sustainability strategy over the next 5 years should look like.
And sorry, did I cut you off?
Well, I was going to say, we did this in 2021, and we officially launched the strategy in earnest in fiscal 2022. And most of those goals are due at the end of fiscal 2026, with a couple of exceptions. And we do have interim year goals that we follow to make sure that we are on the right path towards achievement.
Thank you. Next two-part question. What are some of your biggest recent successes and challenges that you see for the future?
Well, a success that we like to talk about a lot, that our customers are very interested in, and other stakeholders, is our climate action and the goals to reduce greenhouse gas. So we set a target following the science-based targets methodology to reduce our company's operational greenhouse gas emissions by 25% by the close of fiscal 2025 and by 50% by the close of fiscal 2030. And we were very happy to report that we met our 2025 goal 2 years ahead of schedule. In fiscal 23, where we realized a 29% reduction in greenhouse gas for Scope 1 and Scope 2. And then at the close of fiscal 24, which is our last sustainability report, we saw a 46% reduction in our greenhouse gas inventory. So we are very well on our path to achieve our 10-year 2030 target for greenhouse gas reduction.
And what about challenges?
Well, a lot of our achievement around greenhouse gas reduction is a combination around employees' efforts around the world to be more efficient with energy uses, but it also is mostly in part due to power purchase agreements. So being able to identify those kinds of opportunities in all of the areas of the world in which we operate, and being able to engage in those kinds of contracts, that could take a lot of research and doing.
Well, when you talk about the details, because you listed lots of things, there's environmental, social, material topics. How do you select as a company meaningful ways to define success? So what does measurement look like? And then report on that progress. And then I would say add in selfishly, when and how does data verification come into your strategy?
Well, where success with rubber meets the road is by showing how we've reduced our impact or improved conditions around social and governance. We also look at success when we talk to our customers and our stakeholders, and they ask us, what are we doing with sustainability as a company? And we go through our goals, we show them how we achieve those goals, how we measure them, how we have them third-party assured, and very importantly for them, how they align with the achievement of their own ambitions, particularly for our customers. And they're always very happy to see the types of goals that we've set and the kind of progress we made, because it aligns with the achievement of their targets. So that's another way we measure success. We also look at external raters, such as a popular one is the CDP, formerly known as the Carbon Disclosure Project. EcoVadis, which is primarily a social responsibility platform, and other raters, MSCI, Sustainalytics, very, very popular raters for our industry. And we look at the scores that they're assigning us based on information that we're disclosing. For example, we have an A- in CDP, which is considered a very excellent score. We have a silver status in EcoVadis. We're seeing our scores steadily rise over the years for our other major external ESG raters. And we also look at who's recognizing us. For example, Newsweek's 2024 America's Greenest Companies, USA Today and Statistica's America's Climate Leaders for 2024, and the Disability and Inclusion as Best Place to Work for people with disabilities. So these are the kinds of things that we look at in totality when we try to define what success looks like for us.
Well, I'm always very biased when it comes to third-party independent assurance, and I love that you mentioned it because we know each other because SGS is performing your sustainability report assurance and greenhouse gas. But can you walk us through why pursue third-party assurance, and what was, I think, more importantly, what's the experience like going through that process?
Yeah, data integrity is absolutely foundational to our storytelling. So our assurance process for the KPIs that we set and the progress we report and the stories that we tell around them are an essential part of our process and have been for years, even back when these efforts were strictly voluntary in nature. Now there is a transition to more regulatory requirements around that, but it's always been very important for us to show that we are a safe pair of hands for our customers in their supply chain, that we write what we write and what report can be relied on in terms of accuracy, and we've done this and we will continue to do this as part of our storytelling and our ability to inject a maximum amount of credibility and accuracy into our reporting efforts.
Well, having gone through it yourself, what would you give as far as tips for other companies who, I think there's some regulations out there, now some of it's pulled back, there's new regulation in other states. There's a lot of, I think, reason to maybe pause or say, should we do it, shouldn't we do it? What tips would you have for people considering third-party assurance, because you have gone through it, and what would make it easier or more digestible possibly?
I would say whether it's regulatory requirement or not, that third-party assurance will really help you add credibility to your storytelling and reduce your risk of accusations around greenwashing. And if you are a company that's going to have regulatory requirements around third-party assurance in the near future, such as in the European Union, which is still applicable for a number of companies in the U.S. I would suggest, if you're not already doing a limited assurance, to start now so that you can get a feel for the process. You understand the kind of evidence that you're going to need to retain in order to be successful with obtaining a certificate during the assurance process. And you will be ready, hopefully, for anything when these requirements become mandatory.
Thank you. And let's talk about the larger sustainability conversation. Just, you mentioned Europe, it's changed a little bit. The US is obviously changing a little bit. China's launched its own sort of CSRD equivalent. But in general, just with sustainability, Jabil is a leader in engineering, manufacturing, supply chain solutions. When you look at your industry, how do you see it changing in the next few years surrounding some of the key issues you've already decided to focus on and tackle?
Well, I continue. I see that from a regulatory standpoint, this will continue to be a factor that companies will have to contend with, either now and in the future. I think that there will be more focus on double materiality assessments. So previously, at least for Jabil, what we were focusing on were our social and environmental impacts. Now, under double materiality, you also need to take into account financial impacts on your company. So that changes the landscape a little bit about how you can conduct your materiality assessment and still be in compliance with the European and perhaps other regulations. So I see that continuing to evolve and change. I see the use of leveraging AI to help you achieve your data collection and sustainability efforts. And I see an increased reliance on, at the very least, limited assurance certifications.
Thank you. Linda, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk with us today. It's been enjoyable and enlightening, so thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And if anyone would like to know more about sustainability, about Jabil, go to their website, reach out directly to you, Linda. And I hope that folks subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more sustainability expertise content from SGS. And thanks, everyone, for watching.